Hey guys, it's Lindy.
And Mike here, and this is TIY,
the Tiny It Yourself channel, and today we're going to talk about how we're sheathing our house in OSB as well as some extra triangulation we've added just for more structural support.
Yes, we are using OSB oriented strand board. We are doing 7/16 inch thick, and some of you might be saying, why are you using plywood? Well, we actually did the research and found that this was just as structurally sufficient, holds up just as long as plywood, and it was cheaper, so we went with it. All right, so watch us make this house more like a house.
Do it. All right, so now that we got some gear on, we're gonna show you how to do OSB on one of our smaller walls. This is our hitch side wall. It'll be easy because there's really no cutouts. It's just a blank.
Yeah, we're gonna start off by measuring and making sure it's square by doing the diagonals. And then if one diagonal is longer than the other, we're gonna use this ratchet strap to shorten it up so they're both the same length and it's perfectly square.
Yeah, and so then once it's square, we're gonna take the metal scrapping, we're gonna add that so that it stays that way and kind of add some structural integrity as well.
And then we're gonna put the OSB sheets on, show you how to cut them and anchor them on. All right, so from top right to bottom left, we are 120.5 inches. And now, top left to bottom right, what are we, Lindy?
We're about 119.5.
Oh snap, so we gotta go an inch, which means we take half an inch down the long side. That will make the short side a half an inch longer and we'll be perfect.
Okay, since this right here was the longer side, that means that we had to attach our ratchet strap to this corner and have it pulled down here to kind of square it up towards this way. For our extra triangulation, we'll be using this metal hanger strap. It comes in 50-foot rolls at 3/4 inch. It is a 24 gauge galvanized steel. As you can see here, we've already used quite a bit of this first box just to do one of our small walls. And while we bought 2 packages, we're probably going to need closer to 4 or more. For adhering our metal strapping, we're just using the same screws that we did for our metal studs. They aren't self-tapping, but we're using that because we want them to be tighter, and they also have a flatter head so they lay a little bit more flush if we're going to put OSB over them. Okay, since Mikey is obviously the taller of us two, we just sent him inside to tack the first one on this corner because it's easier to pull it down than to try and pull it up. Okay, so since when you get down to like the smaller rolls in the circle of the metal strapping, it has these bumps everywhere, and you don't really want that. You want to be as straight as possible so that it has really good tension. So we're just taking this kind of like metal crimper flattener and just kind of ironing out a lot of these kinks. Get those kinks out.
You can either bend this stuff back and forth where you want to cut it, or you can just cut it with some shears.
Easy peasy.
All right, now we're getting the bottom left corner all tightened in.
All right, now that we have our X done, we just did 2 screws per corner as well as 1 each in the middle, and we'll be moving on to OSB.
All right, right now we're using a chalk line to mark this board so we can cut it down to the height of our wall. Bam, now we're ready to cut.
All right, so we're putting down our first sheet of OSB, and it will actually go in the middle here. And because of how our trailer is, we need to cut out these little pieces here so that it sits actually flush lower down.
All right, now that we've got the sheet all notched in and it's laying right on the center of these studs, we're ready to screw it in. All right, even though we don't need to be up to code for a trailer building, we are gonna be up to code on our fasteners anyway, especially because they're for high winds, and that is 6 inches apart for the fasteners along the edges and then 12 inches through the middle. So we're just making marks so that we get it every 6 inches or so. And then in the middle, we're gonna do that down the middle beam every 12 inches. And this is the front wall, so it's gonna get all the wind. So we definitely wanna get all the fasteners in on this piece.
So we'll first be using this countersink head so that our screws do not sit proud in the OSB. We want everything to lay as flush as possible.
And one little hack here that's definitely worth mentioning because it can save you a lot of time and effort is to just countersink while you're on a horizontal surface before putting it up. That way you're not getting any sketchy angles of the ladder and you can easily just countersink that hole.
So these are the screws we'll be using to actually adhere our OSB to our metal framing. They have an easy start zip tip, helps it kind of just drill directly through the metal instead of us pre-drilling.
Bam. All right, our first piece is officially on. Now we just need to cut those two other side pieces and tack them on as well. Another important thing to note, we actually overlapped this edge about 1/2 inch so that when we put sheathing on the other wall, the corner would be completely covered. All right, the wall is complete, and in case you're wondering why there aren't any windows or anything like that, that is where our tongue box is gonna be, where things like our solar batteries and our compressor for our heat pump will be. That's a mini split. All right, now I wanted to take a look at a more complicated wall and how we're doing it. This is our left side wall. You can see we just did a very long piece of strapping there, which is gonna help triangulation a lot and act sort of as a cable to support this overhang here. And then this piece of plywood gives you an idea of how you might want to cut out a window, sort of just notch it out, which is pretty straightforward. And then we're doing horizontal pieces all the way along the top. All right, I figured we'd do a progress update. We're probably 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way done sheathing. We have now even sheathed the front of the overhang wall. We have yet to do the bottom of it though, because we just put in these wooden rafters, which we will attach to soon. Here is the very back side. As you can see, we've left this giant space open for windows. All of this is going to be windows from there all the way down to right there. And we'll custom make those in a future video. This is the front right here. I thought it'd be cool to get an idea of it sort of half finished here. And the next piece we're gonna put on is right here waiting to go on, puzzle piece on. So that's going in the back corner. As you can see, we've also finished the back side of our house, which without any siding on it looks pretty boring, but it's done. Starting to look like a house on the inside, which is pretty cool.
Well, hopefully now you guys realize how easy it is to do your OSB sheathing along with some of the metal strapping. It's a really pretty easy process. You don't really need many tools. It's just a little bit more tedious.
Yeah, now you know how to actually build a house. This feels so much more housey than it did before, and so I feel great about it.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and also check out our Instagram, Tiny It Yourself.
All right, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.